elementary is like one of those schools where, you know, when you're a kid, you just don't really know too much about discipline. So obviously, when I was in that school, like I don't know if I told you the names of the school I've been at. Like I was like in like 5 schools. So I started off with Avalon, and then I went to like Westwood to Pinewood, Pinewood to Westwood. Then once I went back to Pinewood, then I went back to Avalon. All in between kindergarten to 3rd grade. So I was in it. So I was going back and forth to schools and my behavior was so wild. Like it was very hard for me to stay in one place. But of course, after 3rd grade, I stayed at Avalon, and I think the biggest struggle was between 3rd and 5th grade was just trying to get the teachers to side with me. When it came down to what students are saying to them, because I feel like they didn't understand. Like they felt like they would just use anything they can and just put it against me. So it was very difficult for teachers to accept me for who I am, because all they kept thinking about was, okay, what's this student saying? What is that student saying? So, of course, that kind of take a toll of it. But middle school, 6th grade. So, of course, in 6th grade, I was still trying to find myself, but as I was in there, I only made like one friend, and that was my boy, and that was my friend Chris. I was cool with him since I think like 6th grade to 8th grade. He was my middle school, high school friend. I would hang with him because he was like the only one that I could be like kind of weird around. So it was just someone that I just felt like that was cool at that time. But at that time, I really did try to be cool with people that could accept me, But because back then I was chasing for attention, it was very hard for me to make friends because, I was just doing a lot of weird stuff. But nothing that was extreme, but just stuff like, like making noises in the classroom, trying to be like Chris Rock and George Lopez, because I was growing up watching their shows, and growing up watching their comedy acts like Martin Lawrence and Chris Tucker. So it was like one of those personality traits that I brought up in school, But it was mainly because I was watching like TV shows like the Aqua Teen Hunger Force, you know what I mean? Like that was my favorite show, and I keep watching it on Adult Swim, and it's a funny show. I mean, I really love that show. It makes me laugh, and I will watch that show from. I think I didn't start watching that show until like middle school. I think it was either, and then of course I watched like WWE and all that. So, but I didn't start watching WWE until like I think like 4th grade. So obviously once I got into that kind of made my personality kind of like balanced in with a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't be doing in reality. But it was entertaining, and yeah, I just assumed if I could take some of that entertainment, I could pass it on to school, and maybe that could earn me some friends. But realized that I couldn't, do the things that they were doing, but because it was all for show. But in 6th grade, I did, seek for attention around that time. And then of course 7th grade, I can't say that 6th and 7th grade were like my worst years, but it kind of was, because I really was, because I was getting in trouble, but not as too much as I was when I was in elementary, because I was trying to clean my record, because I wanted to go to a different school, but I couldn't, because my record was too piled up with detentions and suspensions. So I had a lot of reports. So I had to be clean. Like the man told me that I had to be clean for like 2 years. What does that mean? Like basically, if you can try your absolute best not to get suspended or get in detention in 2 years, you can go to a different school and they will hold nothing against you. But but that was the only way I could go to public schools, is if I was able to go to school by choice, is if I cleaned my record. Middle school was very challenging. I had a lot of students that were still doing the same stuff, calling me out, snitching on me. Even with the snitching, you know, like telling on me, like, you know, because I always looked at snitching like tattletelling, right? Like you're telling on me, but you know, obviously snitching is like a crime-related word, crime-related term. So it's like, no, I'm not. Like, I just felt like I was just getting like ratted on every single time I did something. And I was just trying my best to like to be cool, but I couldn't, because every time I tried, I always get these reports. And like 6th grade, like it was just a lot of things that they were putting out up there that I was just filling up. So like, man, like I got examples, but it's just too personal for me to say. So like the main thing that kind of like hit me was like, shoot, there was this time, I know we're jumping a little bit, but let me get to the 8th grade part first. So 8th grade, that's the year I would say that was kind of like, all right, what I gotta do in order for me to make friends, right? So so I started rapping, and of course I started rapping, and I did a song called, because we had this thing called the meat test. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's called the meat test. The meat test is basically where you take a test where I guess it's challenging you to get to the ACT and SAT. So it's like to me it's like a practice to where you could get to that when you get to high school. So we was trying to prep everybody up. They be making songs about it. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me make a song. So I wrote this song called Study Hard. I don't have the video, but there was a video of me just making a song about Study Hard. And I did a remake out of the song called from Ace. I don't know if you ever heard of Ace Hood, but he made a song called Hustle Hard. I did a freestyle out of that, and I call it Study Hard. So I did a song out of that in 8th grade. And then of course that kind of got everybody's attention, but I'm gonna be honest with you. When I look back at that song, I kind of sucked at it, but the hook was creative, but my lyrics was like, you know, the verses they suck, but the hook was good, but the verse was like wasn't good, because I keep forgetting my lyrics. But people were hype about it and they liked it. So there was nothing I could have done, just play with the flow. But I was happy that people were excited, but I just wasn't proud of myself for doing it, because I kind of wish that I could have done something to it. Because I just wish I could have done better with the verses. But of course, you know, at that time, my memories was a little bit off. It still is, but it's like, you know, I know how to like try to work towards it. At that time, I was under a lot of pressure, but I really did wanted people to, you know, ride with me, you know. But I just couldn't really get that acceptance rate, because everybody was just so focused on the girls. They were so focused on the athletes. So it's kind of like, couldn't really get it. But some people did like me for rapping, but you know, the hardest part about it was just trying to get people to accept me for who I was. And middle school wasn't it. Like, middle school was not it. But it was getting there. But you know, but as I was in there, the depression side of it got worse as I was spending time in there from 6th grade to 8th grade. I couldn't get my records clean, because even though I made that song and everything, I still was getting haters, and a lot of people really wanted to take me down. So of course, I did get suspended for slapping somebody. and and I guess I can explain the story. So what happened was, I told you about Chris. So I hung with Chris, right? Because he was my friend, right? So, but one thing I didn't like about Chris was that he was two-faced. One minute he's fucking with me, one minute he's like rocking with me, and then another minute he's like, he doesn't want to, like, he doesn't want to talk to me. He don't want to hang with me. He don't want to, he don't want to like be open with me. Like he hanging with the cool kids. So I'm just like, what's up? You know what I mean? So I didn't get it. I didn't get why he didn't want to talk to me. So the best thing I did was, just like did what most people do. Like when you feel like things don't go your way, what do? You just go over there and smite him in the mouth. So one day we was at recess. He was just standing with some boys and all. I saw him one day. I thought he was disloyal because one day he made me mad trying to be two-faced. And what happened? What happened? So I walked over to him and I'm just like, that's like smacked him right in the side of his mouth. And then he got mad. He running around chasing me down, He chasing me down, trying to get me. Little did not know he was not that fast, but he was trying to chase me down. I hide behind the teacher because I didn't want to get hit. And then of course he didn't hit me or nothing, but after I got hide by the teacher, they sent me in the building, but didn't send him. So I was mad about that, but hey, I did it. I did hit him first, so of course they suspended me for it. I was mad about that. They sent me home, and then of course that was the decision I made. I slapped him when I didn't even have to tell it. I didn't even tell the principal I slapped him. I just said, I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I just know he was chasing me. So of course they went by his side of the story. I got suspended for 1 day. And then of course, that kind of hit him all. And I could give you some examples of why I slapped him. Like I said, I told you he was two-faced, but there's an example. So one time, what does he do? There was a girl that I like, and I ain't gonna say her name, but there was a girl that I like. He told his mans like what happened. So he told her name, and when he told her name, literally the word started spreading around the school. So how I knew about it, man, I was with some teacher and I get this note in my locker. So I get this note in my locker. I'm like, what is this? This is a true story. So I get this note, and this note says that, I don't remember word by word, but I know as I'm reading this note, and it's telling me that this girl wrote this. So this was a girl that wrote a note, and there was a note that she said my name, and just saying that she found me cute, gave me her phone number, right? Took me by surprise. And I'm looking at this note, and see, back then I was gullible, so I believed it. I called the number after school, text back, it said wrong number. So I was confused. So, but let me tell you how it happened. So I was at lunchtime, right? I hold on to the note. The first thing that came out of Chris's mouth when I sit on the lunch table, because we say to each other, right? He said that he was all laughing and shit. Like sorry, cussed again, my fault. So he was just laughing and literally was just like, hey man, did you get that note? And I was just like, yeah, I got it. Like, did you know so-and-so wrote it? And I'm like, so when he said that, I was crushed. I'm like, homie wrote this? So, and he said it was funny. I'm like, I'm over here crushed. I'm like, this ain't funny. So literally he told me that the girl that wrote this note was not really her. It was the guy, it was his homeboys that wrote it. And I'm like, okay, then how you put the number on there? Well, I had to figure it out. The number that was written on there, he did that. And then I'm over here thinking like, wow. I was like, dang, homie played me. And I'm over here believing that this is a girl that wrote this. Because I'm like, ain't no guy gonna put no phone number on there. Then I found out it's the girl's phone number. You know what I'm saying? So that broke my heart, man. Like, because I was just like, man, like I can't believe, like, back every time I look back at it now, I'm just like, I can't believe I even believed a note like that. So when I got that note, and I found out, and Chris told me, when Chris told me that it was fake, I was just like, dang. So of course I was crushed. I went to the principal's office. I reported it, and nobody got detention or nothing. But of course, the girl didn't say anything about it until I went to her locker one day, and she told me that she did confirm that homie wrote this, but I was just but I'm still mad at her for not like saying anything. The only thing she said was wrong number. So I kind of figured it was her number, but you know, and it wasn't no fake one because you know, the guy that was with him wrote that, you know. So it was just it was messed up. You know, it was messed up that they would play with me like that. You know, sometimes when you do stuff like that, I don't know about y'all, but I know when you do stuff like that, sometimes it could lead, sometimes it could lead to homicide, man. It could lead to suicide as well. You know, you're actually believing that a girl did this, and then you realize some dude wrote this. Like, it's crazy. Like that's heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying? To reveal someone's personal information and then thinking that is. So it almost got me looking like I was a stalker, but I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And she knew that. She knew I didn't know, but so when Chris told me, I mean, I appreciate him telling me the truth, but the fact that he thought it was funny, I was just like, you know what, bro? When I see you outside, I'm gonna smack the shit. Okay. When I see you outside, I'm gonna smack you. So that's what happened. So I saw him, and I said, you know what, bro? You're gonna get smacked. So literally, I smacked him for doing that, for literally telling me that was funny, knowing dang well I was hurt. So the fact that he hurt my feelings for telling me that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that he told me the truth. But what I'm not happy about is that I got played. So I'm just like, dang. And you probably wondering, like, okay, why you didn't go after homie? Well, the only reason I didn't go after him was because, one, I was just like everyone else. Like I said, you know what? I was just like everyone else. You know how like people are like, you know how that friend will be like, oh, I should go after the guy that wrote this. Or go after the one that caused the problem, not the one that told me the problem. Well, you know, I don't know. At that time, I was just mad at him for just telling me something like that and then think it was funny. Now, if he told me and didn't think it was funny, then it'll be different. But the fact he thought it was funny, I say, you know what? Let me show you how funny it is when I show you that this is what happens when you tell. So basically, I went up to him and I said, you know what, man? You think this is funny? You know, when I see you outside, man, I'm gonna smack you. So I went outside and I smacked him, give him a nice little slap. You know what I'm saying? Just to let him know that, you know, that's not funny. You know, there's nothing funny about writing somebody's phone number on a piece of paper and then putting it on somebody's locker for them to call. Like literally, I text the girl and she sent me this. So I slapped him. So, and that was in 8th grade. So 8th grade was horrible. You know, I was getting, you know, a lot of girls did not like me at that time. You know, I was getting curved left and right. I was getting blocked on Facebook. A lot of girls assumed that I was a weirdo. That I was irritated, annoying. Coming up with all these words like just piling them all together and just put it on my profile. Like, that's crazy. Like, so it was a depressing year, but I didn't have no suicidal thoughts or nothing. But middle school was definitely horrible. But yeah, I mean, middle school was rough, you know, to have that, and then of course getting suspended, getting like called out left and right. Like, there's a lot of things like I just put on this camera, but it's just like, you know, like that's what happened at that time, and it still bothered me. It still bothered. Well, I'm over it now, but you know, when I look back at it, I'm like, dang man, that I wish I didn't have to go through this. But the best thing about 8th grade is that I had my first kiss. So after 8th grade, I had my first kiss, and that was the end of it. So no more middle school. So glad that's done, but unfortunately the record was still there, and so I had to renew my record once I went to high school. As soon as I went to high school, that's when I was able to do my 2 years and go to a different school.